New conversation. Let's talk, think about it. Let's get it together. Together we can do it. Out of the box. Think out of the box. Out of the box. Out of the box. Out of the box. Think out of the box. Out of the box. Out of the box.
What up, family? Welcome to the Out of the Box podcast. I am your host, J Got Soul. This is season 3, episode 11, titled Whatever Happened to Dinner. This show is sponsored by Urban Financial Literacy. Urban Financial Literacy specializes in building, protecting, and preserving your wealth. If you or your family need life insurance, retirement planning, credit repair, mortgage protection, trust, and estate planning, reach out to Urban Financial Literacy to book a consultation. Also, be sure to visit my website at jgotsoul.com to check out what we have to offer. We have an online website designed to encourage, challenge, and remind you that Black money matters. Act like it. We have our merchandise available for sale, so please take notice of what we have on our website, and also notice that the price went up. As I continue to share this brand with the community, I recognize one common theme. This brand is too valuable to shortchange ourselves. With that said, the price is the price. So I no longer will respond to those "it's too expensive" folks, because they're quick to pay everybody else, all the big names, for the same type of quality. So we're growing and Black money matters, so act like it. And lastly, if you're in need of practical budgeting tools, check out our services and book a free consultation today. We believe that there are practical steps to take toward building wealth. We will help you on that journey, so engage with the brand and tap in with us. All right. So a special thank you to those of you that are listening, and I would like to ask you all to share this broadcast so we can reach as many people as possible. But you guys know how we get started. Let's have a word of prayer. Dear God, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the time that we have in the studio. Thank you for the opportunity to just be able to share, and also for allowing us to get here safely. God, we just ask that whatever we're talking about here can touch somebody in a positive way, and we just want to thank you again for all your protection. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, y'all. So today we have Cydney Griffin in the studio. Cydney and I go way back to high school. Cydney is a screenwriter, film director, and the CEO of Griffin Pictures Production Company. Cydney released his latest movie titled Whatever Happened to Dinner, and I'm excited to get into today's conversation. So Out of the Box family, help me welcome Cydney Griffin to the studio.
Hey, what's going on, family? How y'all doing?
Yes. All right, Cyd. So we're gonna let the people get to know you a little bit. So share where are you from and where did you grow up?
All right. Well, as you guys know, my name is Cydney Griffin. I went to school with Jay, and I was actually born in the city of Gardena at Gardena Memorial Hospital, 1987, and from there I've lived my entire life in the city of Hawthorne, off of Cerise, and when I was 28, I'm proud to say that I bought my first house on the same block. So that was definitely a blessing. So I never left.
Yeah.
You know, Hawthorne, California all day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's dope. Okay, so who is Cydney Griffin? Like, let them know, how they can get to know you a little bit better.
Who is Cydney Griffin?
Who is Cydney?
I have no idea. I'm gonna do my best to answer that question. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just like anybody else. I think the more I grew and the more I'm starting to focus more of my time and energy on writing and movie production. I'm starting to develop, like I can guarantee you, I'm starting to develop a lot more discipline and a lot more determination, a lot more ambition. So I guess you could say at my core, those are things that I'm really starting to exemplify. And as I started down that path, you know, I noticed like you know how life goes. You lose friends, you pick some up along the way. But I'm starting to see kind of like how a lot of people that I used to hang out with, like we kind of drifting apart. But just back to your question, who is Cydney Griffin? I mean, hard worker. Yeah. Hard work. I mean, obviously, like I've gone through personal issues in my life that I'm really not gonna get into. But one thing I've come to realize is you don't have a lot of time on this planet, man. You really gotta make each day count, because at the end of the day, all you get is today. Right. So just developing these philosophies over the years, you know, and just working toward my craft. Doing whatever it takes just to get to that point. Like I'm developing and still learning and still finding out who Cydney Griffin is. But as of right now, just goal oriented, driven. It's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world right now, so I always try to have a positive vibe. I always say it's much easier when you see somebody walking down the street and make eye contact. It's much easier to smile and simply say, "How was your day?" than it is to just give a mean stare at somebody, because now that's toxic energy that you releasing into their world. But it's just like a simple smile and a simple, "Hey, how's it going?" You'd be surprised how many people appreciate that and need that in their life. So I mean, these are some of the tools that I'm slowly trying to put into my bag of who is Cydney Griffin. Just trying to grow as a person, you know. But I'm not done yet. This is where I'm at. So I hope I answered it as best as I could.
And I love that you brought it to, you know, about how life is short, because, you know, I lost my niece. I don't want to say I lost. My niece transitioned. It's about to be a year, August 5th. And so, you know, when you think, she was 1 year old, mind you. So when you think about time not being, like, we don't have a lot of time here, you know, it's kind of like, okay, well, what am I going to do with the time that I do have? Yeah. You know, and how am I going to represent those people that did go before me, you know, and still be the best person that I possibly can be? Because a lot of people, when they go through grief, they go down a negative spiral. Oh, yeah. You know, so when you said that, I was like, yeah, that's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have a lot of time, but who we become and who you become since I've known you in high school, you know, I can see, like, you've grown a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm gonna be smiling a lot, because I mean, like, I remember Jay from high school, and I'm just like, now she doing her thing on the radio. I was listening to the advertisements. I was like, oh, okay. I feel like I'm in like Big Boy in the Morning or something, man. I feel like you've been doing this your whole life. So I'm just like, I can't believe, just to sit here with you. I'm like, you're one of my oldest friends. Like, we went, like I said, we go back to high school. So just to see this, you know, I'm like, oh, I hit the big time right now.
I appreciate that, and it's dope, because that was the next question I was gonna ask. Like, I want to talk about how we met, you know, like our introduction into building a relationship, you know, like what do you remember about that, high school and all that good stuff? You don't have to tell details, because, you know, we was
I'm definitely gonna omit names, not in a bad way, just for people's privacy. But in all honesty, I don't think we actually officially had like a, "Hey, how you doing? My name is Cydney. You Jay. Nice to meet you." We just kind of we flocked together in like the same groups, you know. And it's almost like you had your peoples, and like I used to hang out with, you know, with all of my peoples, and like we were just always around each other. But I don't think we actually hung out until it had to be like the summer that I graduated, which was in 2005. And then it's funny, because it's almost like psychologically, now that school is done, all of the people that I was friends with, we got way closer. And I even started making contact, this is a long time ago, but I even started making contact with people that I didn't hang out with, or I didn't talk to, you know. Obviously, like, you go through the yearbook, somebody puts their number down, and I'm just like, okay, let me call you and see what you about. And I'm just like, you're this person, you know. So a lot of these relationships didn't start to form until that summer of 2005 where we got tighter. And I think the reason why we did that is because like psychologically school is over.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of want to you want to hold on to that.
Right.
But even when we were hanging out, it wasn't really like, obviously we were in groups drinking, doing what it do, and it's like we really weren't that we really weren't that type, but like it's like we knew of one another, but it wasn't really like a personal type of thing.
Right.
It was always like never anything on a one-on-one basis.
Right.
It was just always like party. It was always like party group. Oh, there's Jay.
For
okay.
sure.
So that's pretty much that's pretty much what I remember. Good times, man. I wish I could go back.
We had a lot of good times. We had a lot of good times.
Simple times.
And it was like, I always remembered you were a lot like me, and I think that's why I kind of like, I always thought of you as like a cool dude, because I'm like, you're just as introverted as I am. I was very introverted, and I had the same group of friends, so I'm like, okay, well, we can all be introverted together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we did introverted hangouts.
Yeah, and I know you were really into like the basketball thing too. I'll be on your Instagram all the time. I see the stuff that you doing working at the school. Yes, really into basketball. Beautiful thing. And you're a coach at Sarah, right?
JV coach.
Yeah, that's really crazy when people who are like students and then they go back and become like teachers and coaches, because it's always like that. It's that full circle narration. It's like the student becoming the teacher.
Right.
That not to interview you, but that has to be very surreal. Like, how do you feel about that? Before I decided that I would go back and coach, I was not interested in coaching. Why not?
I had my relationship to the game kind of like got a little spoiled based on certain experiences that I had, and so I was like, nah, I'm gonna stay away from the basketball world. But it was who asked me to come and be the coach, my goddad, and he's the head coach as well. And so I was like, okay, I'll try it out. But then once you get into it, it's like, you can't turn your back on these kids. This is the next generation, So I just kind of decided that I'm gonna just give it the energy that I could. And now I'm like, now it's full circle, year 3.
Okay.
Now it's full circle where it's like, okay, I understand the assignment.
Okay.
So now I'm just kind of like more so getting into it. But I appreciate you bringing that up, because I probably would have kept this from the audience. So.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's not even a thing. It's not even a thing to where it's like, nah, I don't want y'all to know. It's just like, for me, I'm very protective of the things that I do, because I've had a lot of people tell me what I can and cannot do, and I don't want them to know what I do, so they don't have the ability to tell me I can and cannot do it. That's kind of like
I love when people tell me what I can't do. That is like my motivation to prove you wrong. Is like, man, that's the fire inside me, man. But the reason why I like what you did is because I've always thought about after I do the whole directing thing, if I ever get tired of doing the directing thing, I definitely, as like a retired, like once I get to retirement age, I definitely want to go back to Long Beach State and teach screenwriting, because the main reason for that is, I mean, my teachers were cool. They did what they did the best that they could, but at the end of the day, I feel like my school did not start until I graduated college. And just reading every book on screenwriting that I could find. Like, there's a great book by Sid Fields called Screenwriter. Just reading stuff like that, and a lot of things on YouTube. And I'm just like, how come they didn't tell me this stuff? Like, when I was in school, it just seemed like the whole time they were just they were out here kind of tooting their own horn, and they kind of just glossed over, like they kind of just glossed over what they were supposed to be teaching us. So like, on my journey of just learning how to write, learning how to direct, if I do get into that age of retirement and I feel that I'm really not active as a movie director, that's something I definitely want to do. I want to go back and I want to teach screenwriting. And I actually think Spike Lee teaches at NYU. Okay. So that's not, I mean, like, it's not, it's not something so strange for like a movie director to do that, Right.
Okay. Dope. All right, you guys. So we're gonna take our first break. We're going to listen to "I Need My Money" by Charlie Burrell. We'll be right back with Cydney Griffin. Stay tuned. tuned in to the Out of the Box podcast, season 3, episode 11. Today we are in studio with Cydney Griffin, and we're going to talk a little bit about when did you begin writing, screenwriting?
Oh man, so this is kind of a long question, but I was always, I probably shouldn't say I was. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say it. Like, I just love writing. I always love to tell stories, and I love to write. Even this goes back to like elementary school. I distinctly remember like my 4th grade teacher. Like, I wrote like a short story about Santa Claus or something. It was during Christmas or whatever, and she looked at this and she kind of looked at me because like, I mean, like, I grew up in a very urban area, and like these kids, they do the best that they can, but I guess like the way I wrote, and she was like, you're a really good writer, and she ended up giving me an A in the class. And I guess because like stories were always around, and I guess I distinctly remember, I guess like I took various phrases from a combinations of stories that I loved like as a kid, and I incorporated a lot of that stuff in my story. And when she read that, I guess it made me sound much more mature than like a regular 4th grader. Okay. And the crazy thing about it though is like my mom, she was a nurse, and for her, it wasn't really about writing. She wanted to, and she did the best that she could, but for her, it was more like, I'm a nurse, so I want you to be a doctor, and I want you to be good at math. Yeah. And she talks about, like, you know, my mom, she grew up in Oklahoma during a very racist time of living in Oklahoma, and she talks about how like she talks about how like she deserved to get A's in like algebra, and she had to fight tooth and nail for them to give her A's and all of that stuff. So for some reason, and like this is where my mom comes from, but like math was very important to her, and the medical practice was very important to her. And the reason why I bring that up is because all of the signs that pointed to me being a writer, like they were there. My teacher was saying, hey, you should probably work with him on writing, but it wasn't really the direction that she wanted to take me down. Okay. So as a result, she wanted me to be more focused on math, which is why when I got to Sarah, I think I was taking like geometry in like freshman year, and people were just like, oh, you're like a genius in math. I'm like, no, let's not go that far, right. You know. But it finally, and then on top of that, like I started skating really heavy, and I skated from the ages of 13 to probably about 24. Like I was really big into skating. So during that time, I didn't write at all. Okay. You know, and I was just focused on schoolwork, focused on math and all of that stuff. But it got to a point where I had to sit my mom down, and I'm like, you know what? I see what you're trying to do, but your dreams aren't my dreams, and you have to respect my my life and my decisions. You know. Mm-hmm. But actually, in high school, I struggled through writing, which is crazy because like in elementary school, middle school, I was good. In high school, I struggled through writing just because I was more focused on, like I wasn't really focused on academics. Skating for me was where I put like all of my discipline and all of that stuff. And when I got to Long Beach State, I actually had to end up taking a remedial writing course. Okay. And basically one thing that course taught me was structure. Once I understood structure, I remember I wrote a paper, and it seemed like everything came back to me. Like I was taking this remedial writing course in Long Beach State, and I turned that into my teacher. It was kind of like, well, you're here, and let's see where you're at. So like, he was like, I'm not gonna give you no information. Let's just see where you guys are at. Then I can work with you individually. Mm-hmm. Once again, like he read the paper, and then he gave me a little bit of notes, and I was just like, oh, structure. That makes sense. And then once I structured it, he looked at me and he was like, are you supposed to be taking this class? Just because, okay. Like, yeah, like the way you open up, and like the way I opened up, and the way I gave the way I wrote like metaphors and things like that. It's just like it was definitely there that I had like
I wasn't supposed to be there. You know.
So it seems like you kind of got back to the natural writing that you're used to.
Yeah.
But you took a break, so it's kind of like you had to get your legs back up under you.
Yeah, but also like to jump from like elementary school isn't it's not Dostoevsky, you know. So it's like during that hiatus where I wasn't really focused on writing, like I didn't know about structure, I didn't know about themes, I didn't know about character archetypes and stuff like that, you know. So it was like I said, my passion for writing was there, but it wasn't as developed if it had been developed along the way.
Yeah.
So that wasn't screenwriting. That was just regular writing.
Okay.
The skating is what drew me to being into movies.
That's interesting.
And because I mean, like we skate, which means we do a lot of. What you do is you do a lot of filming. Mm-hmm. You film your tricks, you edit them to music. It's kind of like music videos to skate tricks, you know. So like I was always looking at my friends when it comes to what they were filming and how to edit. When I went to Long Beach State and I majored in film, I wanted to be an editor, and the reason for that is because I actually thought I was too stupid to be a director. Like that was something that I had to overcome. So, and a lot of the people don't realize that Long Beach State, the film school program, that's an impacted major. So I had to construct a portfolio, I had to submit that, and they had to accept me. The first year I did not get in. Okay. So I was just like, yeah, that makes sense. Like I'm an idiot. So like I can see why they're probably not gonna let me in. And that was very depressing. So what I just did was I went to the teachers and I was just like, I'm not in the film program yet. Is it any way that I can just can I just help out, stand in the corner and hold a light or hold a flag or something just to see what these kids are going through? And they were more than welcoming. Actually, they needed extra people to help on the various short films. Mm-hmm. There's this 336 class where you actually make films, and you break up into a group of 5 people and you rotate through different positions. And they needed a 6th person to be something called a script supervisor. Mm-hmm. What this person does is they take pictures and they watch for continuity. I don't know if you guys have ever seen movies where like I'll cut to you and it'll be a glass on your table and the glass will be filled with water. And then they cut back to me and then they cut back to you and the water is empty. Okay. You know, so continuity, eye lines, things like that. So once I found out about this this position of script supervisor, that's what I wanted to get into. But then once I actually got on set and I saw these kids work, I thought, well damn, like I have stories better than this. I put them up on like this pedestal, that was unattainable for me. And I'm always that person. Like I'm the type of person who really believes if I'm learning something, but the world already knew it before. So like I feel like I'm constantly playing catch up, you know? So like I put the idea of being a movie director on this unattainable platform. But once I actually got into these groups and I saw the stuff that these guys were making, I mean, cheap stuff that deals with superheroes and a lot of Harry Potter crap and stuff that really didn't have any heart in it, you know. Just in all honesty, Long Beach State Film School was kind of like it's like a high school film school.
See, this is why I've been really intentional about how I communicate with you about what you think about yourself, because you know how we had the conversation at the Green Pines anniversary and you're like, I'm like, yo, you out here doing it, like you're really a director and you were a screenwriter, like I'm trying. And it's like that is a part of that idea that I'm too stupid to be, and it's like, no, you've never been stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've actually been very talented, but because that wasn't something that you were encouraged to do, then you discounted yourself.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, like I'm always gonna be that person that's gonna be like, look, you're not trying to do anything, you're doing it. Like we talk about you getting your film, whatever happened to dinner, into a film festival. I was watching your post and you posted that you got a no. They sent you a no first. and then you
a lot of no's, a lot of no's,
right? But then
from multiple film festivals,
you finally got the yes,
yeah,
right. And so that's solidifies the fact that you do have the talent, and you are not stupid, and it's not above you. Like, you are really doing what you supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it's definitely a step-by-step process. But anyway, going back to just me kind of just standing in the corner and watching how movies get made at Long Beach State. Like I said, a lot of stuff that they were filming wasn't really that good, and I thought, well, I'm a good writer. Why don't I just take a crack at this stuff? And the stuff that I wrote, obviously, it wasn't where I'm at now, but that's kind of what. Once I got that idea that I could be a director, then rollerblading stopped, and all of my passion and discipline for writing movies kind of just went in. It went in that direction, and I've been doing that. I've been doing that ever since.
Dope. Okay, so we're gonna take our second break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk more about the role of a director, and then we want to get into the movie itself. What created that movie? So we're gonna take this break right now. We're gonna listen to "Now" by Brittany Jackson. So stay tuned.
Put a smile on my face. Baby, you know just what I want. Tell me that all of your good energy will be here before I know. You shoot the love through my veins, and I let you when I'm with. Nothing can go wrong if you're in control. Now, right now, you're saving me and making me crazy. At the same damn time, on a drug I know nothing about. Till now, right now, you're saving me and making me crazy. At the same damn time, I'm hooked and I don't want out. I wanna take a trip and float away, 'cause I don't really care about a thing, as long as you're here with me. I admit I am addicted to what you do to me, and I let you in. It's what you do to me, and I let you in. Just give it to me now. Put a smile on my face. Gotta give me just what I want. Tell me that you would never say no to me. I need all you got and more. Now, right now, you're saving me and making me crazy. At the same damn time, on a drug I know nothing about. Till now, right now, you're saving me and making me crazy. At the same damn time, I'm hooked and I don't want out.
You are tuned in to the Out of the Box podcast, season 3, episode 11. In case you're just joining us, we are in studio with Cydney Griffin. All right, and so now we want to talk a little bit about the movie, Whatever Happened to Dinner. What's the storyline? Like, what made you write this movie?
The story is very different from the first couple drafts. At its core, I just wanted to show like a stay-at-home mom and just show how hard it is for a stay-at-home mom to kind of take care of her family and hold her family together, because I feel like a lot of women who stay at home and do the cooking and cleaning, they get looked down upon, or they don't really get the credit that they deserve. And the funny thing about it is, I was talking to my coworkers. I work for Southern California Gas Company. They know about the movie and all of that stuff. And one of my supervisors brought up the idea. He was like, to hire somebody who can cook and clean your house and take care of the kids and all of this stuff, if you didn't have a person who does that stuff, that's like a 6-figure income. You know, like when you think about like doctor's appointments, little league games, and stuff like that. And so at its core, this movie goes out to just like the stay-at-home moms who don't get the recognition that they deserve. But there's more to it than that too. It also shows how one of the major themes, it shows how families don't really sit down every day at 5 p.m. and have dinner, in the sense of, Jay, how was school? You know what I'm saying? How was work? I got that promotion. We don't do that. When we look back at that Leave It to Beaver or that Lassie lifestyle in like the 1950s, where families did that, you know, that's becoming very it's becoming something that we sweep under the rug. Right. So that's where that's like the theme of the movie at its core. And also the movie, once you look at the movie, it shows how technology is creating sort of a dividing line when it comes to communication. Because just to give you guys a simple overview of the movie, my main character, her name is Wendy, played by the wonderful actor. Her name is Camille Calvin. And she basically is expecting medical results, and she hasn't told her family yet. She's expecting these results to come at the end of the day. And instead of just sending them a text message, or instead of just calling them on the phone, she decides that she wants that family support and that family embrace. So she starts to cook this dinner. She wants to get everybody around the table so she can break this news to them, so she can have that support. But one thing she's finding is, she starts to make dinner and they're like, why are you making dinner? Like, it's not a holiday, like, you know. So, and when she's reaching out to them, trying to talk to them, she can't get their attention long enough, because you got one person on a cell phone, one person on a iPad. So it really shows how nowadays when you go and talk to people, it's very hard to communicate with them, just because you have that divide, that technological divide. So that's basically what the movie is about. Deals with themes of like that technological divide, what technology is doing to families, and it's also dealing with like that theme of impending bad news. And obviously, like, I've never had a scare with medical conditions or anything, but I've definitely been in situations where, like, expect this and it could be good and bad, and like that emotion, you know, like it transcends. So like I could definitely understand where this character was coming from. Also trying to communicate with people, and they're not giving you attention because their attention is on like their cell phone or their technological devices. We all know, we've all gone through that. Yeah. So that's those are the main themes as to how this movie came about. Just a stay-at-home mom trying to make dinner for her family, trying to connect with people in this technological world, and just it's like yo help, like I need this support, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. When I seen the trailer, I connected with it. And the reason why I connected with it was because I was that kid that asked my grandmother, like, why we don't sit together at the table and have dinner. Right?
What did she say?
She just tried to make it happen. Yeah. But again, we're not used to it. So you got people who's like, man, can I go sit at the couch and watch TV? Yep. Or can I go in the other room and eat my dinner? Like, it's just uncomfortable.
Just bring it to me in my room.
Right. Like that's how it is. And so when I seen the trailer, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And then now it brings up the technological age. So it makes it's very modern. But can you tell us about, like, what role did you play in creating a movie? You're a screenwriter, but you're also the director. So what does that look like?
So obviously, as a director, I think David Fincher, one of my favorite directors, he's the director of Fight Club, the director of Seven, Social Network, things like this. But he always says you want to try to control as much as you possibly can, because if somebody in your group of people messes up, it's going to fall on you. People look at a movie and they just see a bad movie. They don't look and say, hey, they might say an actor is the performance is bad, but they don't look and say, hey, that the lighting scheme is off. They don't look and say, hey, your production design looks like crap. They just say it's a bad movie. So anything, basically, when it comes to being a movie director, I kind of look at it like building a house. You're kind of like the contractor that oversees various groups. And Quentin Tarantino, he kind of said it best. He was like, you're really not, as a director, you're not supposed to be an expert at the camera. That's what the cameraman is for. You're not really supposed to be an expert when it comes to acting. These are professionals in their craft, but you have to have that vision to be able to kind of guide their direction. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like I heard on the internet where they say like a person sailing a boat, if you don't know what direction you're supposed to sail, no wind is favorable to you. You know, you definitely have to know. You have to know what you want, and going down that path, these various professionals, that they can, once you get them far enough, then they can, it's amazing to watch them work on like their craft, and then they give you what you want once you already know. But I'm a little different because I'm a writer director as well. There's a lot of directors out here that do not write their own movies.
Okay.
And I've always had a problem with that. I mean, David Fincher hasn't been credited for writing his own movies, but at the end of the day, he's very heavy in the writing process. So it could have a lot of stuff like that going on. But as far as like that title of writer and director, it was a famous director. His name was Akira Kurosawa, Japanese director. And he basically said, movies cost millions of dollars to make, but writing is damn near free. All you need is a pencil and paper when it comes to writing. So obviously, since it's more efficient for me to write, and I love writing so much, I took to it while I was saving up the funds in order to fund this movie. For those of you guys that don't know, it took me about 7 years to save up to shoot this movie. And the script was already done.
That's important to note.
Yeah. And
Obviously, it took a long time, but I needed that time because I was able to go back and I was able to fine tune and kind of get the script as tight as I needed it to get, very cause and effect. If you watch this movie, everything happens for a reason and everything develops from beginning, middle to end, and I'm very proud of that. And the reason why I was able to do that is because of the time that I had. This is my first movie that I've ever written, and just that time to go back and write and rewrite, that definitely helped the movie. And on top of that, like I said, I love writing. So at the end of the day, being a good director, if I can give anybody any advice, so I graduated college in 2013, and just from 2013 up until now, like my schedule is read scripts, write scripts, watch movies. And not just watch movies, in all honesty, I probably say watch good movies. And I know, and obviously that word good is subjective. You have to define what you think a good movie is, but when something captivates your emotions, watch it until you know every frame of that movie. You know, that's the best thing that I can say. Just one thing that I often do is I watch movies with the sound off at a lot of times, just because a movie at its core form, it's about picture storytelling. And a lot of people get that mixed up with TV. Movies and television are very different. Movies were around
long before television, and it's more about picture storytelling, visual storytelling. So if you can figure out how to frame a character in a scene in order to invoke a certain emotion, that's kind of like where the mastery of film comes into play. And there is no finish line. Like it's literally the journey. So it's just more so about going down that road and getting into that role of just submerging yourself in cinematic culture. But like I said, like it doesn't stop. Like you literally have to write, you have to read, and you have to watch these movies over and over again. Like that's basically all I do. If somebody were to text me and I'm at home, what am I doing? I'm probably watching a movie. You know, if you text me, what am I doing? I'm probably reading a script. Like that's all of my free time.
Okay. So when did you said 7 years, it took you 7 years to actually produce it. So when did you start submitting to the film festivals?
I started submitting to film festivals, I think, about a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I submitted to Sundance. That was the first one. And yeah, don't submit to Sundance. Nah, yeah, I wasn't. No, Sundance is great, but I wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it was premature.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
It's like Sundance is crazy. I have heard sometimes about the movies that are around 100K and they go to Sundance and they're just amazing directors and amazing, you know, they're just amazing. But most Sundance movies are coming at you with $1 million+ budget already. It's like, I can't touch $1 million. Yeah. You're like, are you kidding me? And the reason, the thing that I don't like about this industry is it's very tip of the iceberg. You only see what's on the surface. But when you look at these movies that get into Sundance, you have no idea how they did some of the networking. You have no idea who's behind these projects. A lot of times when you see these movies that are brought up by first and second time directors, and they're just, it seems like they're knocking it out the park. When you look at like their producers and stuff like that, it's like these people are that they work with seasoned producers, seasoned people, you know. So it's really not like they came out of nowhere. You know. So
it's safe to say that you're independent.
Yeah, as of right now, like I'm still trying to expand my network. You know,
but you're doing it, so
yeah,
that's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So we're gonna take our final break. This last song is called 11:59 by Kaylon Hallman. Stay tuned.
Curious to know who you with. Lost it in a bad time. Bad time gave me my time. My time desired peace of mind. Headed over hills for you. Got the helicopter for you. All the things I did for you. Oh yeah, I could have been patient. If I took things slow, maybe we could have made it. If I go back in time, I would have saved it. It could have been better. It could have been better. Now I'm on the better. It could have been better. Better, babe, better, babe. I think I'm gonna ride by myself to the next one. Came to peace with my past, now I've learned a new lesson. Flexing, that be you on the ground when I see you. Stressing, see you with your friends on my newsfeed. Tryna cover up what you can't see. I see you, girl. I should've realized what you couldn't give but take from me. Yeah, I've been having 1 or 2 conversations. Time to hit the switch, oh, moving locations. Yeah. It could have been better. It could have been better. Now I'm on the better. It could have been better. better, babe, better, babe.
You are tuned in to the Out of the Box podcast, season 3, episode 11. We are in studio with Cydney Griffin. And so, Cydney, what would you say your mission behind your writing, your screenwriting, and your movies would be? What would be the mission?
So a mission. One thing I will say is, it's not really mission for me. For me, it's theme. Before I can put pen to page and start writing, I need to know, what is this movie about? Why should people care to see it? For example, when you look at Whatever Happened to Dinner, I wanted to show, obviously, the difference between radio and television cinema is something that you wanted to show. I wanted to show how families don't connect the way we used to connect in the past, how dinner is kind of like falling by the wayside and stuff like that. So my mission is to show, hopefully it is to show themes that a lot of people that kind of go unnoticed. Like I want people really to look at this movie and be like, you know what, you hit the nail on the head. I felt this. I felt how like we don't connect. I felt that insult when I'm trying to talk to people and they can't get their head out of their technological devices long enough, you know. So it's more about just I want to bring things to light that we experience every day, but we probably haven't made a conscious effort to acknowledge.
Right. Okay. So what kind of adversity did you have to experience just trying to get this movie filmed?
Oh man, like one thing I can tell you, to put it nicely, money makes people act funny. It makes people act funny, and I'm not gonna name names, but I will say, there are people, you know, it's like I open up the budget to some of my friends, like my camera, my director of photography, my producer, and I sit them down and I say, you know what, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a movie. Long story short, people changing. It's like they agree to the stipulations, and then when we get halfway into doing what we do, you start hearing the condescension in their voices and the passive aggression of oh yeah, like I should have gotten more money. I'm like, dude, I know you should have gotten more money. If I had more money to pay you, then you know you would have more money. But it's very frustrating when they make it seem like I got a leprechaun under my bed and he's just hoarding all of this pot of gold. It's like, dude, I tell people, like, it took me 6 to 7 years to save this up just to pay you. You know, and you're sitting here looking at me like I have a Warner Brothers bank account. But just people kind of like people not sticking to their word, and you trying to find other ways around it. Like I said, I'm still navigating this movie industry, focusing on networking, and that is another beast in itself. And it's like people will insult you, and you can't really say nothing because you never really know. Years down the line, you may need to ask these people for favors. So it's kind of like, learn how to smile through your teeth, man. And it's very important. Don't dwell on no. So you got to understand, I was one of these people that had a fear of hearing no. So the first couple times I heard no, it's like, dude, F your couch, you're dead to me. You know, you can't do that, man. You can't do that, because you might need these people down the line. Right. And the movie industry is very funny. People will smile to your face and they'll be so polite, and they'll say that they're gonna look at your stuff and they'll never call you again.
Or they steal your idea behind your back or something.
So that's a lot of stuff. You got to learn how to roll with the punches. You know, it's just the fake attitudes. Like this industry is so fake. It's like even directors and people behind the scenes are acting their butts off, you know. So just very important to deal with that. And my solution to dealing with that is set up the next thing, you know. So like if this door does close and somebody does say no, so you don't dwell on it as much, you know. Go over here to the next, have a couple of outcomes, you know, that you can pivot into.
Okay, so what's the most important lesson you might have actually said it, but what's the most important lesson you learned with just, you know, creating this movie?
Patience.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Patience, man. The first time, so I was fresh out of college, 2013. I sat down at a computer to write my first script. So basically, this was my first script. It took me 2 years to write this, but I sat down at a computer thinking I could bang this out in a couple of weeks, just because I read an article. It was like the 20-year anniversary of John Singleton's Boys in the Hood. Okay. I actually had the opportunity to meet John before he passed away, and he was talking. I was like, "What are the projects are you doing?" He was like, "Oh yeah, man, I got this TV show coming out. It's set in South Central Los Angeles, and you really gonna like." He was talking about Snowfall.
Yeah,
you know.
Thinking that.
So like that was cool. But anyway, like going back to what I was saying, I read an article. It was like a 20-year anniversary of Boys in the Hood, and he said he sat down and he wrote Boys in the Hood in 3 weeks. And when you look at what Boys in the Hood has become, to write that in 3 weeks as a writer, you're like, this guy's a genius.
Right.
Like literally, you know. But just learning that it's all about perspective, you know. It's like, even though he sat down and put pen to page for 3 weeks, he was 23 when he wrote Boys in the Hood, and I just have to point out he was the youngest director to ever be nominated for Best Director by the Oscars. He beat Orson Welles by 2 years. Orson was 25 when he made Citizen Kane back in, I think, 1941. But anyway, even though it took him 3 weeks to write this movie, he had 23 years of experience to draw from. I wasn't looking at that.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so it's still the long process.
It's still a long process, you know? So that's one thing that helped him out. But obviously the idea of like patience. When you rush through something, or when you get frustrated because something isn't connecting, you got to learn that that's okay. That is part of the process. Yeah. So me learning that, I've definitely lowered my anxiety when I get frustrated, when stuff isn't going my way. And you gotta be in the conscious mind of the organic experience, you know, when it comes to that. But patience, you got to be patient with this, man. If you rushing through this, you gonna produce crap. Nobody gonna connect with you. And let me tell you something: if you put crap in any art form, the audience can see it. Don't trick your audience. I think Rick Rubin was just like he said something along the lines of, if it's good to you, it's gonna be good to other people. You know, don't put something out where you scratching your head and you going, they might. No, we not, dude. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't do that.
All right. So before we wrap up, can you share like what platforms people can find you on, and any information on how they can see the trailer and that type of stuff? Yeah,
absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram as Cydney Q Griffin. That's CydneyQGriffin. And also you can find the movie's Instagram. That's where I post all of the updates and how it's doing in festivals and things like that. The Instagram for the movie is Whatever Happened to Dinner. I think it's a question mark in there too. It's Whatever Happened to Dinner movie. But obviously, if you just type in Whatever Happened to Dinner, that'll pull stuff up on Google. Like, I think my main actor, her name was Camille Calvin. She was nice enough to upload the trailer to YouTube, and it's on Vimeo too. And if you could put like some links up, or on your platform,
gotcha.
Yeah, that'll be helpful in getting people to find the content.
For sure. So y'all make sure y'all check out his social media and check out the trailer. I think a lot of people is going to connect with it. So, yeah, y'all check that out. But we're going to wrap up the show, y'all. So, y'all be sure to check out the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. The Outer Box Podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Audible, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you like to listen to your podcast. Subscribe to our show for updates and new episodes. This has been the Out of the Box Podcast, Season 3, Episode 11. Thank you to those of you that listen live. We're appreciative, and we hope you enjoyed yourself. A special thank you to our sponsors at Urban Financial Literacy. Also, be sure to check out jgotsoul.com. We will be back in studio July 22nd, so y'all stay tuned. You never know who we're going to have in the studio next. We are out.
Awesome.